I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin tonight, Councilman Flaherty lost his father this week. Bill Flaherty, everybody probably knows him. I mean, a lifelong resident of the town and well respected here, especially by me. I'm a staunch Democrat, taught me a lot of things, so we'd like to observe a moment of silence in his honor. Our condolences to your whole family, Bob.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, everybody, and thanks for everybody in the community as well. We've got an outpouring of condolences and love from everybody. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
I'd just like to say, Bill also served on the zoning board for how many years, Bobby? Probably 20 plus?
Well, he was there quite a while, but I don't know that many, but he was there quite some time.
Totally prepared, a great advocate to the town.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And a real gentleman.
Absolutely. And your mom, Val.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Paul can follow in his footsteps. I'm trying.
Well, keep trying, Bob. Okay, approval of minutes. Monthly town board meeting, November 5th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Public hearing, Continental Village Park District, Continental Village Water District budget, November 4th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Public hearing, general budget, November 4th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Weekly town board meeting, November 18th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Committee reports, Conservation Board.
Okay, the Conservation Board met on November 10th. Glenwood, Neil Tolman discussed a dam repair, went into the lore, went into a lot of detail about the dam itself. Basically, at the end of it, had great assurances to everyone that every measure will be taken, because sometimes people get concerned about that. There's also a structure on 301 regarding a house that had burnt down, and the concern issues there were basically that the septic mostly and at the well, whenever you're going back and using it, you can't be making assumptions just because the house burnt that the septic and the well are going to be okay as well. It's very important to make sure that they're going to adequately be able to handle what you have, and that there hasn't been conditions that have changed since then to warrant for you to take a look at. We also had an application that dealt with a pool and a surrounding decking and so forth. All of it basically was going to be inside of the wetlands buffer. There was a discussion. We tried to look for alternatives, but the bottom line is luxury items, which these are, in the wetlands buffer, which is 100 feet from wetlands, from waterways and so forth, are not allowed. So garages would be included in that. So it's very important, if you're going to purchase land or you're going to do something, take a look first and see, in fact, if is it going to be allowed or not. We really don't want anything in the regulated wetlands. It's because of saturation into them, and if you don't have a decent distance, you'll get contaminants and you'll actually degrade the systems. So please be very careful with that. Also, the library, the Fish Library, Desmond Fish Library, discussed a plan they have for an actual what they call discovery path and solar facilities around the property, which is, again, in this particular case, pathways close or right on the buffer are not really intrusive per se if they're handled properly. So it isn't like we don't ever have anything that we wouldn't, but again, more intrusive items you have to be very careful about. Okay, and the next meeting is December 8th.
Thanks, Mike. Recreation.
The Recreation Commission did not meet this month. The next meeting is Tuesday, December 15th, because the meeting had fallen during Thanksgiving week, so doing a joint meeting on December 15th.
Well, geez, Judy, what'd you do that night? Thank you. The Philipstown Hub.
I think Danielle's here.
She
Yes, she is.
Old riding buddy there.
I'm still recovering. face this way? I'm just.
Sure.
Yep. Okay. Hi, everyone. I think maybe last month Judy shared our annual appeal from Philipstown Hub. I'm not sure. I had dropped it at the town board. I brought a couple of copies for board members to take a look. We're super proud of this. It shows like our the accomplishments that we've been able to achieve over the past year and our first year of existence, thanks to the support of the town of Philipstown and building upon that to increase staff. So now we have 3 part-time staff members, and our participation from the community has been huge. We are really seeing an uptick in the midst of this pandemic, people coming in with mental health and addiction needs. So for example, this past month, we've worked with 22 residents, and 12 of those are new just in the month of November. So that's, with a small town, that's a sizable number. And what makes our approach different is that it's so personalized, that we continue working with families and individuals, even if let's say they come in because they are looking for an inpatient treatment facility or an outpatient treatment facility or a therapist. We will continue to follow up to make sure that that connection was made and that they're happy with the service that they're receiving. So that's what makes it a little bit different, and that's what also keeps us, the hope is that this keeps residents connected to the organization rather than just a handoff to another service. So that could just be shown in the number of like contacts. We've started measuring the number of participant contacts, we call them. That's either email, text, phone calls, in-person contacts. Something really important to note is that we are still seeing people at the hub at 5 Stone Street, where a lot of facilities have closed doors and are just seeing people virtually. And that's a real benefit right now because people are feeling anxious and maybe don't like the idea of sitting behind a screen. We also offer Zoom and phone calls as well, but it's nice to be able to say, come on in. We've had, we have strict safety measures in place. We have air filters, and before the weather started getting chillier, we were meeting in our outside patio area as well. So that's a real benefit to us that we try to share with the community. This month's participant contacts, like I said, we started to measure those. We've had 305. That means following up, trying to find resources, phone calls to outside agencies. We had someone come in the other day who was even, laid off recently and feeling a lot of mental health stress due to that. We're also trying to put him in touch with job training sites, and my care coordinator, Julianne, was working with him on his resume. So this is truly like a real life service on this side of the county, and it's due to the persistence of this town board, of legislator Nancy Montgomery continuing to push for these services. And so it's just really amazing when I really think about where we were a year ago. And so that's, I'm really happy to share that with you. We are in the midst of our annual appeal. That being said, for how busy we are, there's always there's a pros and the cons. Being busy means more hours spent on trying to do this work. So at philipstownhub.org, you can go and make a donation. You can just mail a check, or there's really easy online ways to donate through PayPal. So just spread the word to your neighbors, let them know that we're open and that these resources exist. And that is it.
Thanksgiving Day, the hub did a
Yes.
moment of thanks. And we heard bells ringing, village church bells, and throughout Philipstown, people cheering. And
Yes, exactly. At 2 p.m., everything kind of, we had really a big success when the pandemic, when everything first shut down, and we started the 7 p.m. Getting outside and clapping because you care for essential workers. And so we kind of built on that. And Judy was great in helping us get some of that going too. But everyone stopping for a couple minutes on Thanksgiving. It's a different kind of Thanksgiving for a lot of us. So at 2 p.m. to get out and kind of see your neighbors. And we're just really trying to be innovative and trying to create some community where there's, there's just so many changes going on and so many people are isolated. We've had couple calls from seniors who have been worried about family members that they haven't seen. And so we've started doing some weekly check-ins with seniors who have reached out to us by phone call, which is totally, I mean, they appreciate it so much. And we're trying to really look at that area too, because seniors are isolated and really, and struggling.
Did you say you had 300 this month?
So 305 contacts. So we're calling this like, phone calls with people, phone calls to us, emails, follow-ups, like calling. It's hard now to find resources because so many people are struggling. So let's say even for mental health, for therapists, they have this long waiting list. And so rather than people making those phone calls themselves, we are doing that work, but it's a lot of work and it's a lot of legwork. But it's instead of them getting to the point, it's so frustrating for families trying to find services. And so instead of them getting frustrated, we're making a lot of those calls. And so that those add up. And then also just checking in. And like I said, even though we have 12 new participants this month, we're still actively working with 22. And that's probably low. We're probably working with even like closer to 35 on people who are like, everything's going fine. And we just maybe every month give a call to make sure things are still going well.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
I read through the report. It's outstanding work. Thank you.
Thank you so much for, again, the town's continued support.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Planning Board.
Boy, okay, planning board, we had another marathon planning board meeting last month on November 19th, another 2 hours and 45 minutes, but I'll give you the abridged version of my report. Our first thing on the agenda was return of escrow cash performance bond. It's here in our resolution tonight as well for Velco Realty of Peekskill. Under the old business, it was Ronald Heitman and Jean Marie Fleming. They're building a under 3,000 square foot home, and that site plan was approved. This has been going on for the last few months. Magazino, as you know, I've been talking about since early January of this year. That has been approved. The two approvals there are lot line adjustment and also for the building they plan on building. They plan on starting as a new building sometime in early spring next year. So that's off the docket. Won't be seeing that anytime soon in the planning board anymore. Maybe unless they're coming up with something new in a couple of years. Anyway, next thing on the agenda, we had Andrew Koppler, 176 Moog Road. I've also been talking about this the last several months as well. This person is looking to build a three-season room in a courtyard on a 21.8-acre property. That was been approved too. We did have one public hearing of Joseph Pell Lombardi, 19 Philipstown Road, Cold Spring. The applicant is seeking subdivision to adjust a lot line adjustment. There was no public hearing, or no public comments whatsoever. The public hearing was closed. They will prepare a resolution for next month for approval. The board had a discussion on CRS International Warehouse. This, again, I've been speaking about this for close to a year now. The last 3 months we had public hearings. The last month the public hearing was closed, but they did not get time to really evaluate and read the traffic report. And they did this time. There was still many questions about the traffic report. The biggest concern is the truck radius in and out of the facility. But they are possibly will expand the opening from 27 feet to like 35 feet, which would help the radius of turning trucks in and out. That was really the only discussion about that. They will prepare a draft resolution for next month. They don't plan on approving it next month, but they're going to have a draft so everyone would see exactly what it is, and it'll probably be the last time anyone has any questions regarding that. Under old business is Christopher Flagler and Heidi Snyder at 699 Albany Post Road, Garrison. This applicant is seeking to build a 1,760 square foot an addition. There are some concerns with this. Some people think it could become a Airbnb, but that's, they can't, go on what people may think there's going to be. Currently, it's with the ZBA. The ZBA is asking the planning board for some comments, and Ron Gaynor will provide some comments in writing and give it back to the ZBA board. They also referred to the Putnam County and Garrison Firehouse. 3622 Route 9, Cold Spring. This applicant is looking to, there's a building, currently a 2,000 square foot building on site today and a 325 square foot garage. They plan on doubling both those buildings and building two new buildings of 15,500 square feet and 10,000 square feet. This will be a contractor's office and storage. The board declared this a major project. It'll be a lead agency and seeker. It will require a new well and septic, referred to county planning. In the county health, referred to North Highlands Firehouse as well. In the Conservation Board, they would require a public hearing. They did not schedule a public hearing as of yet. Next is William Laura Cumming, 71 South Mountain Road Pass. This is just a lot line adjustment, basically, subdivision of a 10-acre plot. 1 place is going to be just subdivided to 10 acres to 4.2 and 5.7 acres. And the frontage is going to move from 300 feet to approximately only 165 frontage feet on the property. 2 variances are required for this as well. A site visit was not required, but a public hearing will be. Riverview Industries, Route 9 in Cold Spring. They have as you know, on Route 9, they have 2 big pieces of property over there now with the operating, and they repair heavy equipment and trucks and so forth like that. This is for a parking area across the street. This area across the street is basically just for parking vehicles while they're being worked on. There will be no building whatsoever taking place on that property, but there is concern. There's a wetlands in that area. In the current plan that they currently have, it abuts the wetlands, and right now the wetlands is in danger. So they want the remedy. They want to correct the wetlands, and they're also recommending not to go back so deep, make the plan wider, is not as deep. And there's also a plan to put some type of stone and a barrier at the edge, so no oils and so forth will leak into the wetlands. They are planning a public hearing for probably February. Under new business, which we didn't get to, was like Mike just mentioned, Desmond Fish Library and so forth like that. We didn't get to that. So that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Zoning.
The zoning board did not meet in November. They met before our last meeting, so I did report on their early November meeting, and they will not meet in December, but the next meeting is scheduled for January 11th.
Okay, thank you. Highway.
Highway. Philipstown Town Board, Carl Frazenda, work performed by the Philipstown Highway Department for the month of November. We would like to wish everyone a safe, happy, and healthy holiday season. The highway crews have continued grading dirt roads and patching the paved roads, as well as blowing leaves for most of the month. A jetter truck was rented for a week in order to clear pipes and waterway of debris such as leaves, item for rocks and sticks. We welcomed a new international truck to the fleet. It's a beauty. The material bids were opened in late October and will be awarded. The Highway Department received approximately 15 calls regarding road complaints and issues for the month of November. Roughly $2,500 was spent on vehicle maintenance and repairs for the month. Carl Frazenda, the Highway Superintendent.
Thanks, John. Under Building and Land, Town Hall continues to move ahead. We've been told by the contractor that we should be done in January.
Yep.
So things are looking good in there. You're going to see a lot of changes outside in the next 2 weeks, and hopefully today the water line went in smooth. Did it? Okay, good. I saw them working on it, so. But things are looking good at Town Hall right now, and we'll see a change order we're going to table later on. Cemetery Committee.
Okay, you may have noticed on the Mountain Avenue Cemetery, you can see a lot clearer inside there. That really wasn't the reason for it, but that was the side benefit. I went there and met with the stonemason. Believe it or not, while they're not very big locust trees, they're actually physically pushing off some huge stones that if we had let that continue to happen, it would have actually pushed them over, and these would have been severely damaged. So we had to take immediate action. I thank Philipstown Tree for coordinating with us and getting in there and removing those. We'll be having a site visit soon, but it's to be determined when I can get the stonemason in to do McKeel's Corners. I have some structural issues. I want to make sure that we're okay with waiting on those. So that'll be our next one. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Putnam County Legislator Nancy Montgomery.
Hi, everybody. Bob, just my sincere condolences to you and your family. As I look here, there are a lot of parents who were the foundation of this town, and your dad certainly was one of them, as you know, for all of us. So he taught me a lot, and I'm very sorry for your loss and our loss in the town. Just, yeah, thank you. Quick update on Putnam County happenings. As you know, I reported last month about the budget. What I'm working on day in and day out is a response to COVID and trying to get, more attention to that. As you saw, the correspondence I've sent back and forth to the county executive and to the health commissioner, basically the response I get back is we're waiting for guidance from the state. And, my point is let's not wait for guidance from the state. I look to other counties and what they're doing. My most recent memo was after a lot of research I did with the help of newly elected Trustee Foley to investigate this rapid response testing that Ulster County is doing. If our message is stay home, then why is Putnam County setting up yet another site on the other side of the county? We don't want our folks traveling too much, so my hope is these rapid testing mobiles are helpful and can get testing right here. Most concern is obviously with the schools if they reach the certain level. And the goal is to keep schools open and keep the economy open, and the only way to do that is with testing. So I'm hopeful for that. The other thing we did at Tuesday night's full-fledged meeting, we approved the Bonadeo Group, which is a firm that will come and do a intensive audit of the sheriff's department. I voted no on that, basically because it's a fiscal impact this year, which we didn't plan for, of $45,000. And, while I would love to look at efficiencies across the board throughout the county and every department, it's not the time to spend $45,000. We could use that for a mobile testing site. I believe that's all I have for now. Anybody have any questions for me?
The forensic audit of the sheriff's department, how far back is it going to go?
Good question. I don't know. I can ask that of the Bonadeo Group. I have nothing against looking at it. The sheriff is
Right.
open to it himself. It's just the $45,000
Right, it's a
at
lot
this
of money.
time of economic crisis is not money well spent. Neither is spending $500,000 on bathrooms for Tilly Foster.
Well, since it's all politically driven, I can imagine it would go right back to Bob's election.
Sure.
Since
Right.
these people have nothing better to do than hammer the political thing. It's
Yeah.
really awful. And, it's as if it's Groundhog Day. It's the same day every day with the county executive and the county health commissioner, who should be fired tomorrow, by the way. It's just reprehensible, and I can't fathom that they don't have a plan. When this started last March, and it's as if today is day one. Well, we're waiting for the state. That's been their response since last March. So I want to thank you, Nancy, for fighting for us and trying. But I saw the response from the county executive to you. She's always dismissive, always disrespectful of you, and I don't know how you tolerate it, but it's an uphill battle over there. And it's not as if you're asking for the stars. You're asking for something that's common sense: testing, contact tracing, and public information. We're getting nothing.
Thank you for your kind words about me. It's my job, and I'm in close contact with the school superintendent at Haldane, and through him, he's, giving me information about Garrison School. So, despite what is happening over there, there's work being done here, and the constituents, their concerns are being addressed as best I can. And one more really important thing that we did approve, and I did vote no, we have to, like we did with the comprehensive plan, we have to update the county charter every 10 years, and we're embarking on that. And I was advocating for town participation to be appointed to that panel. But unfortunately, it's only 3 members of the legislature and the county attorney and the legislative attorney. So I advocated for the minority leader to be a part of that voting panel. We can all contribute, but we're not voting members of that. And I want to encourage you all to contribute whatever you see fit for the county charter.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, with the continuation of the pandemic and the worsening of things, number one is Philipstown is doing pretty well. A lot better than the rest of the county. people adhering to mask wearing, it works, obviously. All the precautions that are recommended by the CDC are still important, more so than ever. And with a vaccine in sight, now is not the time to let your guard down. So I would really encourage people to hunker down and just get through the next 4 months. We get the vaccine and we can move on from this. But in the interim, it's going to be a long winter, so get ready for it. Nobody's happy about this, but it's a reality. And if you buck reality, you don't want to wind up in the hospital, and you don't want to have bad condition that we've seen all over the country. And with 3,600 deaths yesterday in the United States, it's a scary number. So people should get prepared and take the precautions. Keep your guard up. All right.
Thank you, Supervisor Shea, too, for your letters to the papers as well.
Oh, thank you.
The message was clear and important.
Well, at least you read it. All right, we're ready for the agenda. Okay, yeah, I'm fine. I was just thinking about something, but out loud.
The first item on the agenda is a resolution accepting the resignation of Deputy Town Clerk Teresa Crawley effective December 31st, 2020.
Teresa can't leave.
No, no, she can't.
Cannot go. I'll tell you, if you don't know Teresa Crawley, you should. She's just a super person, a great worker for the town of Philipstown. You will never, ever hear a complaint out of Teresa's mouth, ever. Always smiling, always a pleasant presence in town hall, and willing to help anyone who comes in. I've never heard her say a negative thing in the entire time she's worked here. And she's probably heard me say plenty, but she is retiring, so that's a tough seat to fill. She's really just a well-rounded person, and I love seeing her. I love, you're going to town hall.
She's a great person. She's always very kind to everybody that walks in the door.
Yep.
Like you said, never has a negative thing to say about anybody or anything. She's all positive.
Yep.
She's just a real nice lady. I hate to see her leave, but I wish her the best on her retirement.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're going to see her. Well, once this thing passes, I'll go down to Depot on Friday night and be able to sit next to her. She will be, absolutely. We love Teresa. She's a great person.
Yes, she will.
But it is with great regret that we will have to accept this resignation. Teresa signed it. So if I could get a motion accepting the resignation of Teresa Crawley as Deputy Town Clerk.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you so much, Teresa, and we will be seeing you around town.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution awarding the 2021 highway material bids. No, I don't. Do I really?
We used to actually do that. No.
I had to read the bids when you do the bid opening.
Yeah.
That's
The
brutal enough.
only thing I'm not clear on is he's got some things delivered. He's not clear on one of these as far as delivery goes. I mean, if we can get something delivered for $8 a ton, we certainly want to avail ourselves to that rather than driving, a 10-wheeler across the county or out to Stormville to go get it. I'd like to be clear on that. Just the one section. He's got a highlighted FOB. It's bank run, fill, and tailings. He's got Red Wing Properties out in Stormville. He's got both things highlighted. So I don't know if they do both, if sometimes they get it delivered, if they need something in a hurry, they run out and grab it. Well, he's got delivered highlighted. So I'd just like to know, I don't want to see the highway trucks out in Stormville. That's what I don't want to see. But that's up to, it's Carl's decision, but I don't know if we adopt this right now, if we're adopting something we don't know what it is, if we could.
Do you want to do it with the exception of number
Yes,
6?
I do.
And seek clarification? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I just want to make sure I'm looking at,
Is that the one on page 12?
get back to it.
Red Wings Properties, Stoneville.
No, it's one where they got the approval. I'm looking, they had it a second
Okay.
ago.
That's all right.
No, I just want to make sure that we get to the right one, because we do have to do an exception.
Page 6. if we're
Page
looking at the
6?
Same thing. Bank run, fill, tailings.
You are right, yes.
Yeah.
Page 6, yep, bank run, yep.
That one.
So, again, for, with a 10-ton or 10-wheeler, 10 tons, you're talking about $80 for delivery. We can't send a guy across the county with fuel and all that for $80, so I want to make sure we're, zeroing in on these kind of things, because,
Well, does it say fill $8, then it says delivered 16?
yeah, it's got a whole list of items there. I mean, bank run, infill,
Yeah.
tailings.
He's got that highlighted, I guess.
He's got both of them highlighted, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can go ahead and approve this with the exception of bank run, fill, and tailings.
Number
And then
6.
we'll take care of it next week. But,
Just get some clarification.
yeah, because these trucks are expensive to run and they're expensive to maintain, so. But if we could go ahead and if I get a motion on a resolution awarding the 2021 highway materials bid with the exception of item 6, page 6, bank run, fill, and tailings. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye, thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution authoring the return of any remaining cash performance bond for Vamco Realty of Peekskill.
Right, this has been approved by the planning board, so let's roll. Could I get a motion on that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. You can get your $5 back. What's left?
So the next item is a resolution approving the following one change order for the town hall renovation project. I received a revised change order this afternoon. So the revised amount would be for $17,225, and it's for copper gutters and leaders for PVS construction.
Right, so I got that too. You sent it over to me. My recommendation right now is to table that until we can get a more reasonable rate on that. The credit for the work they were going to do, $1,250. Every time I see a thing, it's $8,000 for labor, $12,000 for labor.
Yeah, so basically we could say, we don't want top gutters, let's go back to the way the original plan was.
Sorry.
It would be a flat.
Right. Well, they're not getting that amount of money. They're not. I mean, it's just, what's fair is fair, and it's a two-way street there. We've been good to them, but this is not going to fly.
That's a
But
lot of money.
it is, and it's not fair that we want a credit for work that was spec'd in the plans, and every time there's an increase, we hear it's prevailing wage, that's why it's so expensive. But then when we get a credit, suddenly it's,
Not half of
oh,
what it's
here's
supposed to be, yeah.
50 cents and a cup of coffee. It's
Yeah.
not going to fly. So if I get a motion tabling that resolution for this time.
And to be clear, we could meet again next Tuesday on site and approve something realistic.
We can, but unless they come down a lot, they're not getting an approval.
Yeah.
So could I get a motion tabling item 4 on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution approving the following one change order for the town hall renovation project in the amount of $10,267, and that's for the elevator battery backup for PVS.
So this is a bit of a surprise because we got an elevator, but we didn't get the battery backup. We are not buying a generator at this time because it's just not in the budget right now. We got the disconnect done for it, so we're ready for it in the future, but we're not going to buy the unit right now. Regardless, we would probably still need a battery backup. We don't want somebody getting stuck in it.
Because you can't guarantee the generator's
Generator's
gonna
gonna
work all the
fire
time,
up
too.
anyway.
But,
But we have to have this. And also, it's come to our attention, we're going to need a service that monitors the elevator via the phone 24/7, or whenever the building's open.
yeah, he said that if someone's in the elevator, they pick up a phone, they have to talk to someone that's live.
Live, yeah.
That's what he said the other day,
Right.
right?
Your cell phone.
I know, exactly. But if somebody's in there and they don't happen to have a cell phone,
No, I want to call your cell.
oh, they can call mine, yeah. I'll go up there with a ladder.
The Metro North elevator has a phone and a service. I know I was stuck in there once, so I used it.
Judy, what were you doing in the elevator fooling, or what controls were you fooling around with?
This is tragic.
Boy, Mike's got some zingers tonight. He's going to be here all week. But we feel this is a fair number on that. We need the battery backup for the elevator, so I'd be inclined to approve it. Could I get a motion on the resolution approving that change order?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? And I vote aye.
The next item is a resolution approving the following one change order for the Town Hall renovation project in the amount of $4,610, and that is for the concrete entry sidewalk.
So this is what wasn't something we're anticipating doing. It came up when they took the front door out that the building in front had actually sunk below the sidewalk in front. So that's never a good thing that the sidewalk's higher than your front door. We do have to do this work. It's a legitimate change order. The price is not anything crazy for the excavation, forming, and labor and product concrete that goes into it.
All the way out to the town sidewalk?
No, it's only that
That
first
one little
like 10
section?
10-foot section.
Well, it's got to meet the grade for handicap accessibility. So however far out they have to go, depending on how high they got to go up,
Right.
that's how far out they got to go. So
But he's got to do that first, at least 10 feet of it. He's got to get it to work with the new front door. So we,
if you remember, when you went in the front door of the town hall, the
Yeah,
floor
no,
kind of
definitely,
pitched
yeah.
up a little bit going to the double doors. Obviously, we don't want that in the new building, so that's going to be brought up. The front door is going to be raised, and it'll help with water outside the front door.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't damage Betty Bunny's memorial out there, I'm okay.
right, don't fool around with that other stuff, yeah. All right, could I get a motion approving that change order?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Shea to sign the filming permit for North 6 Gap Teen Spring 2021 project, event to take place December 2nd to 3rd, 2020 at 40 High Ridge Road, Garrison, and this is nunc pro tunc.
Well, I didn't hear any complaints about it, and we did get the permit fee, so all's well that ends well. Could I get a motion on that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Shea to sign the filming permit for Integrated Film Industries Team Gap 2 project, event to take place December 4th, 2020 at High Ridge Road, Garrison, and again, this is nunc pro tunc.
High Ridge Road's a hot spot.
Yeah.
Same thing, filming with associated filming permit. We're going to be taking a look at those filming permits before the reorg, though, because our fee schedule for film permits is incredibly low, and there is some administration involved, especially for Greg. So could I get a motion on that resolution? Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution extending the moratorium on the submission and processing of applications for land use approvals for new land use development on properties located on Upland Drive, Ridge Road, and Cliffside Court within the town of Philipstown for a period of 6 months to June 4th, 2021.
All right, we had started this obviously 6 months ago. Haven't done a lot with it, obviously. We've been busy with other things. We've done some things.
We've done some things. Obviously, we've had Highway, the attorney, and myself toured all 3 roads. We took a look at the issues. I'd say the attorney was his first time. He noticed a lot of steep slopes. His comments often were, is this a road? And that's because there's clearly sections on Upland Drive and Ridge Road at the very top towards Sky Lane, which are just dangerous. They should be shut down. They're really not safe roads at all. A number of people have written about this extension. Obviously, people that wrote from Cliffside and Upland wish us to extend this. I support that. The attorney has given us some ideas. There's a number of things to look at in addition to the people on the road themselves. Some of the comments that I saw, if they're listening, first of all, we have not stopped renovations to anyone's houses there. There were some comments from people that are afraid now that they would be stuck up there with snow and so forth. There's also an issue I wasn't aware of that they're claiming that there's a culvert danger situation when you just come off of Winston Lane going on to Upland Drive, that if it collapses, they would all be basically caught in there because the other end, when you try to get out the other end of Upland Drive, you have to go through that extremely dangerous property that most vehicles can't get through it. So that is an issue. So no matter what happens, there has to be an answer or solutions up there, and I strongly recommend that we continue this. Some of these recommendations might actually have to involve zoning changes, and obviously we're well aware of what that goes through. So something has to be done. Certainly want to work with the residents on it, but I think we need the additional time to weigh the issues that the attorney gave us and to be able to come up with some hopeful solutions with the residents.
Yeah, we certainly can't entertain any large-scale building up there.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense to add even another house up there.
Right, yeah.
So it's a bad situation. We don't want to make it any worse, but thanks for your work on that, Mike.
Okay.
Could I get a motion on the resolution extending the moratorium on the submission and processing of applications for land use approvals for the new land use development on properties located on Upland Drive, Ridge Road, and Cliffside Court within the town of Philipstown for a period of 6 months to June 4th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Roll call. Oops, sorry about that. Councilman Van Tassel. Councilman Leonard.
Aye.
Councilman Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Farrell.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Harry, do you think they wanted us to do that?
I don't know, it's iffy.
Got quite a few emails.
Next is a resolution accepting the proposal from Mark's Landscaping and Outdoor Living LLC for 2020 through 2021 snow shoveling and ice melt application as presented.
Unless any,
Continuation of last year's snow
yeah,
removal on the
unless
temporary.
anybody has,
Right, the temporary facilities. Hopefully, if we get in January, we can not have to do any of this, but
yeah.
we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
I don't have any issues. Marks provides good service. He gets out there, clears the sidewalks, so.
All taken care of.
Yep. So with that, could I get a motion accepting the proposal from Mark's Landscaping for shoveling ice melt application? Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution authorizing Robert Sinquay to sign the proposed consent and order judgment R.E. Garwal versus Town of Philipstown, and this is for tax cert.
Oh, this is a tax cert? All right. Just thought it was something else. All right, it's a tax certiorari issue, which Bob Sinquay handles for us. Brian Kenny has approved it, so I'd be inclined to move ahead with it. It's just comes from the BAR, I imagine. At any rate, could I get a motion approving or authorizing Robert Sinquay to sign the proposed consent order and judgment in Garwal versus the town of Philipstown? Second.
Second.
All in favor? And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution authorizing the town clerk to advertise for the position of clerk to the special boards to begin January 1st, 2021.
Oh, because,
Because Kelly will be
right,
open
yeah.
when Teresa retires.
All right. Yeah, sure. Could I get a motion on the resolution? Second. All in favor? And I vote aye.
The next item on the agenda is a brief presentation by Kathleen Donovan regarding WIC programs.
Hello, Kathleen.
everyone. I'm Kathleen Donovan. I'm a longtime Philipstown resident. I also have worked for the New York State WIC program for about 20 years as a nutritionist. I currently work at Sun River Health in Peekskill and Beacon. You probably all know it as Hudson River Healthcare. It recently changed its name. I'm here to talk about the WIC program just because, as you probably all know, that last year Putnam County Health Department decided not to continue running the WIC program. And Open Door Health Center down in Ossining took it over. They also have a office in Brewster. So I had a lot of personal experience with that because once the county stopped doing it, a lot of the participants, they actually were told they had to wait a while. I guess the center was not open in Brewster quite yet, so they had to go to Mount Kisco for a short while. My understanding is that it's all in place right now. And if you go to the Open Door website, they have a full 5-day-a-week service helping the WIC people. But in the meantime, I'm here to talk a little bit about what services are on this side of the county because I don't know how many people go over to Brewster regularly, but it's a haul. And a lot of people don't know that you can apply for some of these programs in any county as long as you're a resident in New York State. And that is true of WIC. You don't have to go to the Putnam County WIC if you want WIC. And if you live on this side of the county, Beacon is close, and so is Peekskill. And it's much easier to get services there, and I think a lot of people don't know that. But it really doesn't matter, as long as they get it. It's the same program everywhere. So I'm here to let people know what's available close by on this side. And also, there are more people needing the service now because of the pandemic, and a lot of people who never used services before find themselves needing something like this. What else? I don't know if anybody has specific questions about WIC. I'm just going to read off the eligibility because, WIC stands for Women, Infants, and Children. But there are, a few key things. And maybe you don't know somebody, but somebody who may be listening, or maybe you do know somebody who could be using this, who could really help them. WIC not only, gives stipends, or it's really not a stipend, it's monthly amounts. They do other services, referrals, and all that kind of stuff. And it comes to about $75 to $125 a month for each person who is on WIC in the family to add to their food budget. So, people are really struggling, and they have guidelines they have to go. They have to buy healthy food. So the goal is to, promote the health of young families. All right, so the eligibility, this is the group of people who are eligible to apply for WIC. Pregnant women, infant and children up to 5 years old, a mother of an infant up to 6 months old, a breastfeeding mother of a child up to 12 months, and anybody is allowed to apply for WIC on behalf of a child or somebody else if they're the legal guardian. What else did I want to say? Okay, the big reason I'm here is because I did a little research to try, if you were a resident of Putnam County and you thought you had to go to Putnam County WIC, if you go online, all the information is old. It's all from the county program, which ended early last year. And if you didn't know the whole history of where it was sent off to, you would not be able to find the service. There is a program, well, I have a list of all the contact at the end. If you Google the New York State WIC program, there was a website called wicstrong.com. It's specific to New York State. It's all by county. If you go up to your county, find your agency, find a service close to you. There is nothing listed under Putnam County. If you, which is very unusual, most counties have 3 or 4 programs. So I happen to know that Open Door took it over. So, and I know the Open Door main office is in Westchester. So if you go to the Westchester County and you can find Open Door, they do list the satellite office in Brewster. So you had to have all that information in order to find it. And, nobody would have that information unless they really closely followed. So I'm just here to let people know that if you know somebody who needs WIC, they don't have to go to Brewster. They can apply close by. And actually, right now, it's also very important to know that almost all of it's done remotely now. There is a physical requirement usually, but now because of the pandemic, everybody's doing it from home. I'm actually working from home. So I'm going to leave some contact information here in a second. So for somebody who might need the program and gets these benefits, there is a debit card that gets mailed to them after they get certified over the, over the phone, et cetera. They get this card, it gets activated, and right away they have access to healthy food to add to their budget, and the card also reduces stigma, and it's just like a debit card, and it's really a very helpful, healthy program. And there's a lot more guidelines on what food you're allowed to buy. You can't buy junk food. You have to buy healthy things that growing kids need. So it's a pretty nice thing to have if you need it. Does anybody have any questions?
What was the rationale behind the county closing down the Putnam County WIC?
I don't really know. In New York State, the different organizations, they go out to bid and different organizations take it on. I suppose it's because of all the pensions and the benefits for the employees. I don't know. I actually used to work for a county WIC program, and that's a big draw, when you become that. I don't really know. I think I read it was expensive for them. It was costing them money.
They were going to save money.
Yeah.
So you're going to save money by cutting food to women, infants, and children during a pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you go online, you can get it through Open Door now. It really doesn't matter what they get it. But usually there's a physical requirement. Because of the pandemic, you don't physically have to go there. But up until March, you did have to go there. You have to bring your child to certain appointments, et cetera. I used to work in Carmel, and that feels like a world away, if you're on this side of the county. So right now we are all working from home, at least until February. And it's probably going to be a little longer than that. But when it goes back to a physical requirement, if you live on this side of the county, it's easier to go to Beacon or Peekskill. But if you prefer to go there, that's fine. But like I said, I went looking when I was knowing I was coming here just to see how easy it was to find. And I could barely find it. And, this is my job. So, and I know they're there. But I think for a regular person who really could use some help, they would have a hard time finding it. So.
You're talking about on the county website.
Pardon me?
On the county website.
On this, let me just hold this up for a second. The wicstrong.com is the website in New York State. You can find any agency. There's a lot of information there. WIC has, income guidelines, and the income guidelines are on that website. And when you go looking through your county in Putnam County, there's nothing listed. But they do have the program through Open Door, but it's hard to find. So.
And is there any information on the county website directing people where to go?
Not that I saw. I just Googled WIC in Putnam County, and the only things that came up were the old information about the Putnam County, the health department. So I'm sure that's an oversight on somebody's, Open Door is a big agency. They have big offices in Mount Kisco and Ossining, and actually a lot of people, when they were going through this transition, came to the office in Peekskill, people in the Mayapack area.
We get your information, put it on our website.
Yeah, you can actually have this.
That'd be great. So we'll get that up on our website and get it up on the,
There are the number for the
yeah,
the Brewster office. There's a number for the Beacon office and the one in Peekskill.
great,
And
thank you.
right now, everything is remote, so for the next few months, people need it, they can call one of those numbers, and everything gets sent by email, and the card gets sent by mail, and then people have the money.
Kathleen, thank you so much. That'll be great. We'll get that up on the municipal channel, get it on the website, and then people have access to the information they need. But thank you for bringing that to our attention.
You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is the submission of and a brief presentation on the draft comprehensive plan update by Nat Prentice.
Hello, Nat.
In many ways, I'm sorry we're not back at the old way where we had it, where I could pull up a chair and go through this with you, but we'll get that chance. And I'm going to need to apologize to the audience because I have given to the town board a hard copy of a new comprehensive plan for the town. And the reason is because we're just going to have a little introduction of it tonight for them. I'm going to get them to highlight a few pieces that are going to be worth their looking at. But this is just the beginning of this process. We took 3 years to do an update. A committee worked on it, an all-volunteer committee worked on it, and this is a good start on, we think it's a good start on what can be a new comprehensive plan for the town. Now, that's the town, not the villages. They have their own comprehensive plan, but this plan, I think when you come to read it, does in fact try to be very conscious of our neighbors and those who neighbor us. So, if you make a mental note, there is a website. It's philipstown2020.org. www.philipstown2020.org, and this document is posted to that website as of right now, because this is an official submission to the town board, which is what the law calls for. We need to turn this document over to the town board, and now it's theirs to work on the adoption of. The volunteer committee has begun the process, and that's what this submission is. So if you all would give me 3 minutes, the fastest 3 minutes in comprehensive planning history, just to introduce you to a couple of concepts, just to get your pen around it. Yes, I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. Let's turn it up a little bit. Yes, the whole idea here is not to have a discussion, because we'll have many discussions about this, because there are some controversial items in here. I'm pretty sure you're going to find things that we thought of that you may not agree with, but I want to just kind of highlight a few things. But before I do, I want to tell you about one of our volunteers who's sitting over here, and that's Mary Kate Ephraim. And, you know, in these wonderful processes we have in Philipstown, every once in a while you get some really wonderful new volunteers who you didn't know before, who have had a chance to come and be part of this. And Mary Kate started in a very meek and mild manner. She has ended up being a real force in this comprehensive planning exercise. So, and you've just about frozen her out, but she's going to be here. She's going to be okay for the next 3 minutes. Thank you, Mary Kate, for all, and thank everybody on here, and thanks to Bob Flaherty and Mike Leonard, who were with us all along this first phase, the tee it up phase. Thank you both for your willingness to be with us along the way. So let me just go through it quickly. I want to make sure that everybody looks at my presentation as that of an introduction. I'm not trying to be exhaustive here. I do want to make a request. I want to make a request that we refer to this as the new comprehensive plan, or we consider referring to this as the new comprehensive plan rather than an update. My sense is that the old plan, we're going to get tired of that pretty quickly, and we may be able to retire it, because this plan, by design, has all of the unfinished business of the old plan. So there's really no need, other than you may want to do some comparisons to see what was in the old one and what's in the new one. So, of course, we want to run them in parallel for a while, but eventually there won't be a need to have the old plan. This will replace it, and this will have all the unfinished business, that which was not done the last time, and a number of new points. So we're going to call it a new comprehensive plan. You can see immediately that it's missing a few things. It's not pretty yet. It doesn't have all the maps. It doesn't have all the visuals. It doesn't have all the appendices. It doesn't have a summary of up-to-date current conditions. All of those things will come, but I think what you've got here is a real grassroots effort. This is an all-volunteer effort. There's no... we have no fancy planning consultant other than somebody looking over our shoulder a little bit. So a lot of the stuff that's just a little harder for volunteers to do is just going to have to wait until we get into this adoption process. So let me take you through it real quick. I got 2.5 minutes left, maybe. The first page is the table of contents. Have a quick look there. You'll see that this is in the online version. This has many links, so you can move around it pretty well. I do want to warn you that in this plan, there are 13 goals, and there used to be only 10 the last time. There are 34 strategies, and don't let me knock you off your chair, but there are 149 action items that are listed in this document. But it's meant to last. This is meant to be a 10, 15-year process, so maybe we do 10 at a time. But don't be thrown off by the numbers. I'm not going to stop at every page, but I am going to, as best I can without dropping this thing, I'm going to get you to just leaf through with me quickly. I'm going to take you first. I'm just going to get you to turn over a few pages and land on page 3. This is new. This is not everything, but you'll be interested in this couple of paragraphs because this is where we're trying to highlight the 6 key issues that we think we're facing in this town. So you'll want to read that. I'm now moving on to, and my fingers are cold, so it's going to take just a minute for me to get this through. But let me take you to page 5, and we're going to get through this in 2 minutes, so don't worry.
One of the goals is conservation, so we don't turn the heat on in this room.
That's right. Well, thank you. You're doing. We're keeping everything lively here for sure. This is page 5.
Alert.
This is page 5. How the comprehensive plan was written. All I want to say here is that, and we'll have a lot more to say about the public engagement process. But you never can do enough. But we did the best we could in a COVID environment to engage the public. We had a couple of surveys, the most recent of which had 750 responses, which I think is a pretty good response. We've had a website open throughout this process. We've had public meetings. We've engaged as many not stockholders, that's a different group, stakeholders so we think that process is underway of public engagement, but this thing will only, as you all know, only be as good as much public engagement as we can engage in this adoption phase. So we've got much more to do about that, and you all will tell us how best to do it. I do want to mention on page 6, the top, it's not actually page top, I want to mention a new idea that you all, I hope will go along with. It's the bottom of page 5, you put a little mark there, top of page 6. This is a sort of an annual review process rather than leaving all these 149 action items on the shelf, that we're proposing in this plan to have an annual exercise where we pull out the document and go through the action items and see which ones might be the ones that we want to pursue that particular year. So it sort of forces an annual review process, which is a new item. I'm on page 6, and I'm going to run out of time, but I do want to introduce the notion of the 6 planning principles that the American Planning Association has. Our goals have been grouped. This is different, and you'll be interested in the 6 American Planning Association goals that are listed on pages 6 and 7, so please look at that. And our goals are all organized under these planning principles. You'll get used to it as you read through it. Now I'm going to turn fast because a lot of these items, a lot of this language you're going to recognize from the old plan because it's in fact taken directly from it with maybe a little bit of a tweak. You'll find on page 9 something that I think you're all going to, I hope that you're going to agree with putting right up front, because one of our strategies is to commit to achieving community carbon neutrality by 2040. And in any case, we want to be in line with the town's, we want to highlight that goal. I'm on page 10 with goal number 2, the housing goal. Just want to mention again the survey that we did recently. We were very anxious to focus on housing issues because, of course, this is still one of the biggest issues around is affordable housing. How do we do it? What new concepts are there? How could we make this happen? Mary Kate, in particular, worked hard on this. We spent some time with Jonathan Rose, who we just happen to have in our town, who just happens to be at one of the leading affordable housing. I guess we don't call it affordable housing. We call it workforce housing, or we give it kind of a name that makes it sound a little different. But that's something to read through. We're trying really hard to introduce some new concepts there. Goals 3, page 11, we want everybody to know about complete streets. This is now that you've got the policy, we want to make sure that everything gets looked at when it comes to mobility and transportation in the context of complete streets, which all of you will come to understand what that policy is if you don't already. I wish my fingers weren't so cold. We're just about done. Just a couple more things I want to get you to put a circle around. I mean, this is plenty of good reading for... And you'll find Goal 5 is the natural resources, and of course the Land Trust had a great deal of input and insight with us here, and you'll find an expanded, this is a wonderful section. Anything you could think of that we might want to do to protect our natural resources is in this document. You can see that I'm moving here. I'm almost to page 20. You're going to read through all this. Page 21, I've already got you to page 21, and there's no reason why I skipped over all that other than the fact that you're going to find it pretty much the way you expect to find it, I think. 21, agriculture was never, or farming, was never its own goal, and this time it is, just how important local food systems are to our world. We have on page 21 added under the goal we our town-wide sense of community. We've added just something very important, and Richard has been very supportive of these efforts. We have added a diversity goal, a promoting and supporting diversity in everything we do goal. Page 24, Goal 11, this is brand new. This is Mary Ann Sullivan, who's not here today to accept her award for being a wonderful citizen. In this case, she has written a new goal that has to do with making sure that we consider our residents' health in every policy that we work on. So it's the ensure that the residents ensure good health goal, and that's new. That's not in the old plan. I'm so sorry. This is just hard. Page 27, and we're towards the end, Goal 12. This is, the last time around, we really didn't spend enough time talking about being responsible within our region and talking about pursuing partnerships with neighboring municipalities. We're not going to let artificial boundaries get in the way of our working with our neighbors because we have some issues, not the least of which is the whole visitor management issue that we really do need we need to work with as many of our neighbors and as many agencies as there are out there. Last item, last comment is page 29. And I think I'm just trying to set the stage for where we go from here. I mean, the Comprehensive Plan Update Committee that wrote this document is out of business. By that I mean we're done. Now, some of us may come back in a new form, but we are going to need in the new year to form a new committee to take this document to the next stage. My suggestion is it be called the Comprehensive Plan Committee and that it somehow or another be allowed to stand just about all the time so that we can help perhaps with this annual renewal process. Happy to, again, all I mean to do is introduce this to you, get you to read it. It's just a starting point. The road to adoption is however long you all think that it needs to be. This has been an excellent process from a volunteer point of view. I'm happy to stay involved, but this is what the Comprehensive Plan Update Committee wanted to do. We wanted to submit to you a draft of a new comprehensive plan. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Nat.
And thanks for everybody on your team that helped you with this.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of work.
Everybody that's mentioned here put in the time they could. Nat, you've done a fantastic job, in my opinion, over the 3 years. There's a lot of dedicated people in here, did a lot of hard work, and I hope they get appreciated for that, because it is appreciated, I think, and will be by the town when we adopt some of these fantastic ideas. So I can't say enough about it. thank you so much, everybody that worked on this. Going forward, we're going to need volunteers. Once you start reviewing this document, you're going to realize we're going to need volunteers to help us. So hopefully you'll be able to help us with whatever time you had. And also that the committee went out of their way to try to have everybody in the town participate. So I think that should be brought out, that they really found a lot of different avenues to reach out to people. And that's what this process really is all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The survey was terrific, too. They
Yes,
really
yep.
got a lot of people to respond.
Right, to get that many people respond
Yes.
is a
Yeah,
feat unto
yeah.
itself. But,
If you take the first survey we did, we probably heard from over 1,000 people.
wow,
Yeah, that's terrific.
10,000, it doesn't, there's 9,000 we didn't hear from, but
In other meetings.
it's a pretty decent response. We think that we have the beginnings of representation around all parts of town, but you just can't be sure. You just got to work on it.
right, and there's a lot of synergy with things that are already going on in the town.
And we've rolled, Richard, good point, thank you for making it. In this plan, we rolled up as much, or we tried, particularly in the introduction, to call attention to the many community gathering information, the activism that this town's had. We called attention to the Climate Smart group. We called attention to the Philipstown Community Congress group. We called attention to the work the libraries have done. I mean, we're coming in. I mean, if it weren't for the Philipstown Community Congress, I wouldn't have convinced you all with Nancy's help to even get the update going, because the town people said it's important to have an update in town. So yes, we've tried to roll up and participate in that good momentum that's already been established before our group got started.
Right, and as much work as has obviously gone into this document, making it a living document and achieving the goals require a lot more work. And also being aware that all planning decisions should be referring to the comprehensive plan. That's,
Hopefully this will read easily enough that you all, like Mike does. Ever see Mike's copy of his old one? He's got, keeps it under his arm wherever he goes. Hopefully this will be one of those things that will read easily.
right, yeah. Just
In order to keep the momentum down, what would you see as a time frame for us to start meeting again? I mean, we'll need some time.
You've got year-end things, and you've got
Right.
things. But as soon as we're able to schedule a workshop, maybe that's January, and it might take a couple workshops, because you all are going to need to get comfortable with the stuff that's in here, and there are a few things that you haven't seen before. So I think we've tried, because Mike and Bob were with us, we've tried to sound it out. There's nothing radical in here. I mean, there's nothing in here that we don't think in principle you would think seriously about. But there'll be a need to talk this through. So I would think that we should schedule a workshop, and then to the extent that we need another one, and we bring the rest of the team in and have them all there, so we got all that expertise.
Maybe this could be our first workshop in our new building.
That would be great.
Here's a call for an updated town hall, and it's just in town.
We could check that all.
No, exactly. Then we're down to 138 on strategy. But yes, and then of course, Steve Gallo, who's been through this with the town of Cornwall in the last year, the adoption phase. I mean, he'll know, what the book says, or what the New York State law says about seniors and referral out to planning boards and this, that, and all that. But John, in answer to your question, I think we need to get a workshop scheduled as soon as we can, but recognize that December is December, and it won't really happen until January.
Right.
I think we will, as Mike said, need to start thinking about, another committee, a successor committee, if you will. We don't want to use the name update anymore, because I think we've got ourselves the makings of a new plan.
Sounds good.
Well, it's terrific. At first glance, it's really, really good looking. So thank you. And thanks to everybody who was involved. And here we are, scheduling workshops.
So we have a request through Roberto for the workshop with the Trails Committee to discuss a sidewalk to Boscoville.
Here we are, complete streets happening already, Nat. Look at this. All right, so this is next week's, Wednesday.
If that's good with everybody.
Is that okay with everyone?
I know Mike said
Okay.
he can't make it. I think Mike, you said you can't make it, right? But, okay. And then I have tentatively the year end for December 17th.
Let's do it.
Okay. And then just our monthly meeting for January is the 7th, so we usually do the reorg
At
same
that,
night,
at
just
7.
half hour earlier.
Okay.
So 7 o'clock?
For the reorg, yeah, the reorg will start at 7, and then we'll have the regular monthly meeting at 7:30 immediately following.
Terrific.
The next item on the agenda is the Code Enforcement Monthly Report, and this is for November 2020. Fees collected, $22,524.25. Total number of permits issued, 31. New 1 or 2 family dwellings, 1. Additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 1. All other permits, pools, decks, sheds, plumbing, HVAC, 29. There were 11 certificates of occupancy, 1 stop work order, 2 inspections of public assembly, and 3 inspections of commercial occupancies.
All right, thank you to Greg Winter, our code enforcement officer. I had a phone call last night at about 5:30, which I never like to see coming in, but it was somebody actually calling to praise Greg Winter for his work and his reasonable approach to code enforcement, and I couldn't agree more with them. Greg was a real find, and Fishkill's lost. We did steal him away from Fishkill, but he's somebody who's willing to work with people, and I think that's why you're seeing so many more permits, and the revenue in the building department goes up because people are not afraid to come in and talk things over with him. He is a real resource for the town of Philipstown, so our thanks to Greg. All right, anything else from the board?
Yeah, quickly,
Yes.
I attended that Zoom meeting on November 20th, the Indian Point shutdown meeting.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yes, and basically, obviously, I think everybody realizes that the final unit, Unit 3, will shut down next April, but that's really not the end of it. And it's very important, I think, for us to monitor what's going on there, because we're a neighboring community. This was a long meeting, so the quick summary of it is you had Riverkeeper come on, obviously, and they have concerns. Holtec is the outfit that is being selected. Entergy will be, of course, transferring the facility over to them. They were the operators. And basically, there's a decommissioning fund, and Holtec obviously has a reputation, good and bad. The NRC, which is the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, does support them, but Riverkeeper has a lot of reservations about them because of the past issues with rushing jobs, maybe not keeping all of the employees, which of course is a concern with the area. Buchanan, Cortland, and so forth will be the hardest hit, and Henry Hudson School District. But the whole area really takes a hit because there are clearly people working in that power facility that live in our town. The difficulty with the issue is obviously the plants will shut down. There's fuel. The fuel is put into the fuel pools, and they're in the different units that exist there. Currently, there is dry cast storage, which is occurring on the site. In the past, outfits like Riverkeeper and so forth have said that if it's done properly, it is fairly safe. The difficulty, of course, with this is making sure that Holtec does, in fact, shut the plant down and decommission properly, not causing issues. There will be discussions about, that's a large facility, how much of the actual property itself could be utilized, because then you obviously don't need all of it to do the decommissioning. I seriously doubt that there'll ever be residential there, but I'm sure that there could be commercial and so forth. I personally had put in a recommendation in one of the earlier meetings that I know that There's huge rooftops there, such as turbine buildings and so forth. I think it would be an excellent solar site. I think there's a gain to be made there from a green energy standpoint, but that hasn't taken off yet at this point. They actually had Native Americans on to discuss also, if you're aware of it, the Yucca Mountain facility that should have taken all of this spent fuel. This was the design plan, which goes way back to the 70s, is not going to take it. So the entire industry and us as a country really face an issue of what we're going to do with all this nuclear waste down the road. How long is it going to have to sit in our backyard? And we're certainly not the only one. There's 104 nuclear reactors around the country, and as well as research labs, hospitals, and so forth. What are we going to do with all this? And I think it's a serious issue. They at least started the topics, but it's something that I think everybody has to watch. We have to stay on top of as well, because there are issues. So just don't think it shuts down next April. Oh, that's it, everything's over. It's not. It really goes on, and we need to, I think, stay on top of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And Mike has some inside expertise since he worked at Indian Point.
Long time, yeah.
Thanks for attending that meeting. It's an important topic, definitely. Anything else from the board?
I just want to wish everyone a healthy and safe holiday season as the next few weeks. It's been a challenging year, and I'm sure we're all hoping for brighter days next year.
And I'm sure they'll come around.
Yes.
Hang in there. I mean, it's obvious that the vaccine is on its way, and I think you're right. Things will be better in the coming year. Anything from the audience? All right. Approval of vouchers. Actually, we have a vacancy on the BAR. Did we advertise for that?
Haven't gotten anything.
Nobody?
Well, Renee sold her house and left town.
I heard.
That's it. I couldn't believe it.
She didn't leave yet, did she? No, I don't think pretty close.
No, but she's close to going. Yeah. Approval of vouchers, general.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Highway.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Continental Village Park District. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Water District.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? And I vote aye. Motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.